Welcome to Dark Love Psychology. Why do people fall so hard for someone who showers them with love, only to later feel trapped and addicted to the relationship? This is the power of love bombing. Today, we'll uncover how love bombing works, why it creates emotional dependency, and most importantly, how you can protect yourself from it. Chapter 1. What is love bombing? At its core, love bombing is a manipulative tactic disguised as the perfect romance. It's an overwhelming and intense bombardment of affection, attention, and grand gestures, all strategically deployed at the very beginning of a relationship. The pace is dizzying, the intensity breathtaking. It's designed to feel like a fairy tale, to sweep you off your feet so quickly that you don't have time to question the reality of the situation. You're not just being courted, you're being conquered. This isn't the slow, steady burn of genuine connection. It's a sudden, brilliant fireworks display meant to dazzle and disorient. The love bomber showers you with constant communication, extravagant gifts, and premature declarations of love. Phrases like, "I've never felt this way before," "You're my soulmate," or "I knew you were the one the moment I saw you" are common, often appearing within days or weeks of meeting. This initial phase, known as idealization, is about creating a powerful emotional high and forging a bond of dependency. The love bomber isn't falling in love with you. They are falling in love with the idea of you as a source of validation, and they are working quickly to secure that source. Let's paint a more detailed picture. Imagine you go on one date. The next morning, a lavish bouquet arrives at your office with a note that reads, "For my future wife." Your phone buzzes incessantly. It's not just a good morning text. It's a long paragraph about how they couldn't sleep because they were thinking of you. Throughout the day, they flood you with attention, sharing songs, planning future dates, and demanding to know every detail of your day. If you take an hour to respond, you might receive a panicked message. "Is everything okay? I was so worried." This creates a subtle pressure to be constantly available and responsive to their needs. Within a week, they're talking about moving in together, naming your future children, or planning a vacation for next year. This is a classic tactic called future faking, designed to create a false sense of security and a shared destiny before one even exists. They mirror your interests, hopes, and dreams so perfectly it feels like you've found your other half, when in reality, they are simply reflecting a version of you back to yourself to accelerate the bonding process. Naturally, this deluge of adoration can feel incredibly flattering. Who wouldn't want to be the center of someone's universe? It validates our deepest desires to be seen, cherished, and loved. But beneath the surface, a sense of unease often begins to creep in. A small voice in the back of your mind might whisper, "This is too much too soon." This feeling is your intuition, and it's a critical red flag. This isn't genuine love, it's a calculated performance. The goal of the love bomber, often a person with narcissistic traits, is not to build a healthy partnership, but to gain power and control. By creating this intense, addictive high of the idealization stage, they are grooming you. They are making you dependent on their validation and affection, so that when their behavior inevitably shifts, you will be desperate to get back to this perfect beginning. It's a form of psychological conditioning, creating an addiction to the highs they provide. But how can you distinguish this from someone who is just genuinely romantic and excited? The key difference lies in respect for boundaries. A person with sincere intentions, if told they are moving too fast, will listen, understand, and adjust their pace. They care about your comfort and emotional safety. A love bomber, when faced with the same boundary, will likely react negatively. They might become defensive, sulk, or even try to guilt you, saying things like, "I'm sorry, I just feel so strongly about you," or "I guess my love is just too much for you." They don't respect your pace because the timeline is not about mutual discovery. It's about achieving their objective of control. Another crucial distinction is depth versus surface-level connection. Genuine connection is built on a foundation of mutual respect, shared vulnerability, and the time it takes to truly know someone, flaws and all. It involves difficult conversations and learning to navigate disagreements. Love bombing skips all of these essential steps, presenting a perfect conflict-free fantasy that is, by its very nature, unsustainable. The compliments are often generic. "You're perfect," "You're an angel," rather than specific observations that show they've been paying attention to the real you. It's the first and most seductive stage in a cycle of emotional abuse, which will be followed by devaluation and discard. Recognizing it for what it is, a meticulously crafted illusion, is the first and most powerful step toward protecting yourself. Chapter 2. The brain chemistry behind love bombing. When someone love bombs you, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical triggered by winning a jackpot or eating your favorite food. Combine that with oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and you've got a powerful emotional cocktail. This constant flood of feel-good chemicals creates a high. Just like a drug, your brain starts craving more of it. That's why people often ignore red flags. They're intoxicated by the chemical rush of affection. Chapter 3. Love bombing feels real because it mirrors what healthy love should look like: attention, validation, care. The difference is the intensity and speed. For example, if someone says, "I love you" after 2 weeks, it might feel romantic. But real love usually grows over time. Love bombing tricks the victim into thinking they've found the one, when in reality, they're being set up for manipulation. Chapter 4. After the dizzying heights of the idealization phase comes the inevitable, gut-wrenching fall. This is the shift. It's not a gradual cooling of affections. It's an abrupt, jarring change, like a switch being flipped. The sun that once revolved around you has suddenly gone dark, and you're left in the cold, wondering what happened to the light. This is the moment the love bomber, confident they have secured your attachment, begins to pull back, initiating a devastating psychological game. The most immediate and noticeable change is in their communication. The flood of "good morning, beautiful" texts, the paragraphs declaring their undying love, the hours-long phone calls that went late into the night, they all begin to dry up. First, they become less frequent. Then, they become shorter. Soon, your long, heartfelt messages are met with one-word answers. Or worse, they're left on read for hours, even days. The phone, once a source of constant joy and validation, now becomes an object of anxiety. Every notification sound makes your heart leap with a desperate hope that is almost immediately crushed. Alongside the communication, their time and attention, once lavished upon you so freely, become scarce commodities. The person who once cleared their entire schedule just to see you for an hour is now perpetually swamped with work or just needs a night to themselves. Future faking vanishes. Talk of we and us is replaced by I and me. Planned dates are canceled at the last minute with flimsy excuses. You feel yourself being demoted from their number one priority to a mere option, an afterthought in the life that once seemed to revolve entirely around you. This sudden withdrawal is expertly designed to trigger profound confusion and self-doubt. Your mind races, trying to reconcile the adoring partner from last week with the cold, distant stranger before you now. The love bomber offers no explanation for the change, leaving a vacuum of uncertainty that you will inevitably fill with self-blame. You begin a frantic internal investigation, replaying every recent interaction. Did I do something wrong? Did I say something to upset them? Am I not interesting enough anymore? Was I too needy? This insidious questioning chips away at your self-esteem, making you believe that you are the problem. Clinical psychologist Dr. Anya Sharma describes this as a calculated maneuver. The shift, she explains, is about establishing control through a powerful psychological principle: intermittent reinforcement. The initial love bombing phase creates a chemical addiction to the validation. The brain is flooded with dopamine and oxytocin. By abruptly withdrawing that source, the perpetrator triggers a primal fear of abandonment and literal withdrawal symptoms in the victim: anxiety, obsessive thoughts, and panic. The victim's entire focus narrows to a single, desperate goal: regaining the source of that high. It is a cruel but effective form of conditioning. Think of it like a drug dealer. They give you free, potent samples at first, getting you hooked on the incredible feeling. Then, just as you've come to crave it, they cut you off. But they don't disappear entirely. Just when you feel you can't take the withdrawal anymore, they give you a tiny, unpredictable hit, a sudden loving text, a brief moment of the old charm, a fleeting glimpse of the person you fell for. This is intermittent reinforcement. Like a gambler at a slot machine, you're kept pulling the lever, feeding your time, energy, and emotion into the relationship, hoping for the big jackpot of affection that you know is possible because you've had it before. Ultimately, the shift is a test of control. By pulling back, the love bomber is gauging your reaction, your panic, your confusion, your desperate attempts to fix things and win back their affection. This is the exact response they are hoping for. It confirms to them that the hook is set. It proves their power over your emotional state. They have successfully destabilized you and established a new dynamic. You are now the one who must work, strive, and perform for their approval, which they can grant or withhold at will. This lays the groundwork for all future manipulation and control. You become trapped in a debilitating cycle, constantly trying to recreate the magic of the beginning. You're no longer in a partnership. You are in a perpetual chase, pursuing the ghost of an illusion they so carefully crafted. This shift achieves its ultimate goal. It keeps you hooked, exhausted, and forever chasing the memory of that initial intoxicating high. Chapter 5. Intermittent reinforcement. This is the same principle casinos use. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and that unpredictability is addictive. When the love bomber suddenly shows affection again, after days of ignoring you, it feels even more rewarding. For instance, after weeks of coldness, they might plan a romantic night out. That brief return of affection makes you believe the relationship can go back to how it was, and you cling even tighter. This is the exact moment emotional addiction forms. Chapter 6. The psychological impact. Victims of love bombing often develop low self-esteem, anxiety, and an unhealthy dependency on their partner's approval. They start to feel that their value is tied to whether the love bomber is giving them attention. For example, someone who was once confident may begin questioning everything. Am I good enough? Why aren't they texting? What can I do to win them back? This dependency is what makes breaking free so difficult. Chapter 7. Escaping emotional addiction begins with awareness. Recognize the red flags: excessive affection too soon, rapid escalation of intimacy, and sudden withdrawal followed by random bursts of attention. Practical steps include setting boundaries, slowing down the pace of the relationship, and leaning on trusted friends or therapists for outside perspective. Writing down patterns you notice can also help break the illusion. Remember, real love is consistent, respectful, and steady. It doesn't manipulate through highs and lows. Love bombing feels intoxicating, but as we've explored, it's not true love. It's emotional manipulation designed to keep you hooked. It's a whirlwind romance that sweeps you off your feet, a fantasy come to life. But this intensity is not a sign of profound connection. It's a meticulously crafted illusion. The love bomber isn't falling in love with you. They are casting you in a role designed to fulfill their own deep-seated needs for control and validation. This distinction is the critical first step toward reclaiming your power. Throughout this video, we've peeled back the layers of this complex phenomenon, moving from the dizzying highs of the idealization phase to the crushing lows of devaluation and the final bewildering discard. By understanding the brain chemistry, the psychological traps, and the cycle of withdrawal and reinforcement, you can protect yourself from emotional addiction. We saw how your own brain becomes an unwitting accomplice. The constant praise triggers a massive release of dopamine, the same neurotransmitter associated with reward and addiction, creating a state of euphoria. Simultaneously, the manufactured intimacy floods your system with oxytocin, the bonding hormone, forging a powerful, albeit artificial, sense of attachment. The manipulator effectively becomes your primary source of these feel-good chemicals. Then, the cycle turns. During devaluation, this chemical supply is abruptly cut off and replaced with criticism, causing a spike in the stress hormone, cortisol. You experience a painful withdrawal and your brain craves the only thing it knows will fix it: the love bomber's approval. This is the cruel genius of intermittent reinforcement, the unpredictable switching between reward and punishment that keeps you trapped, always hoping for a return to the initial bliss. Understanding the how and why is crucial. But knowledge is only powerful when it's put into action. So how can you spot this behavior early and protect your emotional well-being? The first and most obvious sign is the pace. A relationship that moves at lightning speed, declarations of love within days, talk of marriage within weeks, pressure to move in immediately, is a major red flag. True intimacy takes time to build. Manufactured intensity does not. Pay attention to mirroring. Does it feel like they are the perfect match, agreeing with everything you say and sharing all your niche interests? This can be a tactic to create a false sense of a soulmate connection. Another critical warning sign is isolation. They might subtly criticize your friends and family, create drama that pulls you away from your support system, or demand all of your free time. Their goal is to make them the center of your universe, leaving you with no outside perspective. This is where boundaries become your greatest defense. A boundary is not a wall, it's a clear communication of your needs. When you say, "I need a night to myself," or "I'd like to take things slow," pay close attention to their reaction. A healthy partner will respect your needs. A manipulator will likely react with pouting, guilt-tripping, or anger, seeing your boundary as a rejection of their control. If you're watching this because you've already been through this devastating cycle, please know that your pain is valid. The confusion, the self-doubt, the feeling of addiction, it's all a predictable response to profound psychological manipulation. The first step in healing is often the hardest: implementing a strict no-contact rule. This means blocking them on all platforms, deleting their number, and resisting the urge to check on them. It's not about being cruel, it's about cutting off the supply of the drug so your brain and nervous system can begin to heal and recalibrate. This process is a journey. It involves rediscovering who you were before the relationship, reconnecting with your passions, and slowly rebuilding your self-worth. Professional therapy can be an invaluable tool in this process, providing a safe space to unpack the trauma and develop healthier relationship patterns for the future. Healing is not linear, but it is always possible. Thank you for watching. Navigating the world of modern relationships can be complex, but you don't have to do it alone. If you found this video helpful and this exploration of love bombing has resonated with you, please consider liking this video and sharing it with someone who might need to hear this message. Subscribe to Dark Love Psychology and join our community dedicated to understanding the deeper, often hidden, dynamics of human connection. Your engagement helps us create more content to empower and educate. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who might benefit, and don't forget to subscribe. Check out our other videos on related topics like gaslighting and trauma bonding, linked on the end screen. Always remember, true love is built on a foundation of respect, trust, and consistency. It should feel like a safe harbor, not a roller coaster. Trust your intuition, honor your boundaries, and never settle for a love that costs you your peace. Thanks for watching until the end. See you in the next video.